You're listening to The Starting Block on tavshow.com.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Okie dokie, roll 'em!
Nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change.
Hey, welcome to the Starting Block for another week. Big show as always. We got nice Garys, we got shout outs, we got a pepperoni challenge, we got a new game, designer shoppies, all that, much more here on the block. Greeno here from the Starting Block. On behalf of the block, we just wanted to let you all know that we're all in this together. Well, except if you have coronavirus, then stay the fuck away. But in every other situation, we're in it together. To all of you on the front lines, those of you turning a footstool, a wok, and a pitchfork into a home gym, those of you who have given your housemates a mental breakdown because you decided lockdown was a great time to learn the keyboard and the only thing you can play after 8 weeks is chopsticks over and over and over again. And those of you who are homeschooling and are now understanding the question you used to harass your maths teacher with of, when the fuck are we ever going to need to know this in the real world, is coming back to bite you on the ass. Just remember, like a 1990s Australian sitcom, we're all in this together. The days may be long, but in times like this, you can rest assured we will be here to waste an hour of your week, Friday nights Australian time, at dlive.tv/the starting block. So take care, social distance, whack on a mask, and subscribe to our show on iTunes. It may not cure coronavirus, but it sure will help us with our rankings. And isn't that really the most important thing right now?
Public Radio's loss is tavshow.com's gain. You're listening to The Starting Block.
Hey, welcome to The Starting Block for another week. Yourself, Greeno, and I'm joined by a man who's been reminiscing about midgets and infidelity after the untimely demise of Jerry Springer today. My co-captain Damon, how are we, sir?
Very good, Greeno. Good evening to you, boys, girls, listeners. I had no idea. I didn't even know he was dead.
Yeah, Jerry died today. I don't know what of. Couldn't be asked looking it up.
How old was Jerry? He must have been, because he was 70s? Old. Yeah, but he was like the Phil Donahue of our. You know how Phil Donahue always looked the same age no matter what time.
He looked 80. Yeah, when he was there, Phil Donahue. He was similar to Sally
Steve
Jesse.
Martin, same kind of thing. He just always looks the same age. And I think that Jerry Springer was the same. I feel like that he was already old when we were kids, and yet he continued to look the same even when we grew up to be adults and, we started looking old. He still looked the same as he did when we were kids.
Right, 79 years of age he died at.
79.
There you go.
I wonder if it was like a car accident or something. Like it wasn't even old age,
That's a very good point. I really don't know. Like I said, didn't bother looking into it, but he's dead. So
it's a sad chapter of humanity that's gone by the wayside. Luckily for humanity, though, and especially Greeno, I think about the children a lot and the generations of the future. At least, what Jerry contributed to humanity is well preserved and easily accessible in online archives now for the future generations. So they'll be able to see, the obese sisters gnawing at each other like wolves over a carcass, due to the fact that one of their toothless boyfriends, slipped a finger into the other one at a Christmas party or something.
It happens.
Yeah,
it does
really
happen.
does. And it happens every day on Jerry Springer, ladies and gentlemen. So
daily.
It's fantastic stuff. Yeah.
I want to kick off the show with a nice Gary. Normally we start the show with a bit of silliness, but I want to give it a genuine nice Gary. Now I'd give a nice Gary to my old man this week, who retired after 50 years in the workforce.
Oh, nice
Officially
Gary.
retired. Gets to hang up his hat. Didn't own a hat, but nonetheless,
Doesn't
you
have
get the
a
point.
hat. Yep.
But after 50 years of busting his ass out there, I want to give it.
If
nice
he had
Gary
one,
over the
he
show.
would hang it up.
He would have hung it up.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now
Did he have a pair of boots, Greeno, maybe, that he could have hung up? Because, you can hang up the boots. What about the gloves? Does he have a pair of gloves?
He could hang up the suit and tie, perhaps.
Suit and tie, yeah, that's not really,
He's a banker, though.
saying.
So,
we've got to make it a sport
calculator.
reference. It's got to be
sport
sports related.
Yeah,
Did he put the
maybe.
clubs in the locker, Greeno? Or is he getting
Maybe
the clubs out of the locker now?
He's getting the clubs out of the
locker. Now
locker.
that he's hung the boots up, yeah.
Now the boots are hung up.
Yeah, or the
more time
gloves.
golfing.
Yeah, or the helmet,
Yes,
maybe. Yeah. Does he have a helmet, Greeno, maybe? Perhaps?
He doesn't own a helmet, no. Not a bike in the big
We've
fella.
got to figure a sport out here, quick.
We'll think about a sports analogy, get back to it. It feels like something that Stefan's poll should probably take care of.
Which sport should we honour him in his retirement? Yeah.
Who's spent a lot of his time in banking.
Could have been a swimmer, Greeno. Might be hanging up the goggles, Greeno.
Could have been the goggles, that's right. Could have been the cap.
Yep.
Could have been a badminton
counts
player.
as a hat, though.
Could have been hanging up the shuttlecock. Who
the
knows?
Shuttlecock. That's a good one. Yes. The paddle, Greeno. Could have been a paddle tennis. You did have a pool table for a period there.
Still have a pool table.
No pool table. Pardon me. A ping pong table, Greeno.
The ping pong table. That's correct. Yes, we did have that.
So
that one's gone though.
Could have hung up the racket, Greeno, the paddle tennis racket.
What's a paddle? That's not a racket.
That's a paddle.
It's a paddle, right?
I don't know. What is it? Is it a paddle or is it a?
I think it's a paddle.
Yeah. I guess why would it be a paddle tennis racket? That doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's a ping pong paddle.
Yeah. Just a paddle.
While we're getting shout outs out of the way, shout out to our 6th listener, Robbie Thornton, who this week is refereeing in the North Ipswich Reserve grade.
Oh, nice.
The
Switch.
4X East Chairman's Challenge.
Make sure you lock your car door on the way in and out of there, Rob, by the way. Hang on to your wallet in the switch, mate.
That's it.
They're pretty savage up there.
Make sure you're in a well-lit area, Robbie. Safety first.
All jokes aside, love the switch, Greeno. That's Australia right there, the fucking switch, Greeno. Love the place. Love the joint.
But Robbie's doing well up there, kicking ass as a sideline referee, touchy, whatever they're referred to these days.
Remember, we used to have the great segment "Touch by a Touchy," Greeno, to get
touch by a touchy.
Yeah, and it was like uplifting stories from the touch judges. So there you go. That's touch by a touchy. It's back today.
It's back. Yeah. Bucket 3, hit the Mitchell Johnson button. Hit the Mitchell Johnson button now, sir. There we go.
So we're giving the Mitchell Johnson Award to our own segment now. Touched by a touchy.
Because we brought back a segment we thought
from
was dead
2012.
12 years ago. Yeah. Touched by a touchy. Now, for context, there's no inappropriate behaviour happening there. That
Isn't
was a play on
that's
the
the
show.
Reason I'm here.
Yeah, but that was a play on the show Touched by an Angel.
Yes.
Now it was then Touched by a Touchy because we felt like the touchies do a lot of good there in the world. So well done there to Robbie. Good luck on the weekend, sir. Now, that brings our 3rd shout out.
We're not becoming, 6. Mate. No. If you want to do this kind of show, I'm sorry, we need to, explore TikTok as an option because apparently, from what I've heard,
15-second snippets.
Yeah, like say for example, when I've been standing in the hallway overhearing the conversations of young people at work, I hear them reference this thing called TikTok. Greeno. Yeah, the talk is it now? It's even cooler than it was.
I really don't know.
Yeah, so the kids are on the talk, Greeno, and I think that's what a lot of the talk is. There's a lot of shout out stuff. Now I'll give you a shout out. A month.
Probably. Shout out.
Yeah, just one.
So are we
Now we're doing
saying
our
that
third.
Robbie, when he's on the touchline, has got to be like, play it from the 20. Also check out the block at,
Oh yeah, a little
Podbean.com.
cross promotion. Maybe he should wear like the starting block sticker on his touchy outfit, Greeno, on his shirt.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the starting block. He'll be
Sponsored by, yeah. Now we're
because
talking.
everyone
Now,
else is sponsoring the teams. We're going to sponsor the officials.
We're
You
gonna
see.
sponsor, touchy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Can I
like
just
it.
say, though, it
That-
would be appropriate for this show because I was thinking about it earlier, and I think we are the only podcast in existence that actually names its shows based on what they spoke about the previous week.
Last week, yeah.
So that's
I'm glad
a
you-
little
I'm glad you
inside
noticed
tip
that.
here on the
That's-
starting block. If you're ever trying to look for a particular episode, you actually need to look for the one before the one that you're looking for, I think. Is that the way
I'm
it
glad
works?
you noticed that little gag I've been doing the last few weeks. Because generally, a bit of opening kimono.
Yeah.
Generally, what'll happen is every week I have to put together a rundown that we completely ignore, and then I give Damo a title to whack in the stream.
Yeah.
Now it's very hard to think of a title every week because I don't know what we end up talking about.
If it's
so
hard to
not
think
very
of a
fun.
title, like what are we doing an hour and a half? What are we wasting an hour and a half for if we can't even think of a title for this
Well,
shit?
it's lacking the organic nature that a title would normally happen. Because what would happen is normally you'd go, and then you'd think about something that happened in that show, and then you name it that.
So
right?
you're actually not interested in fresh titles. You want the freeze-dried, packaged
it's-
title from the previous
exactly.
week. You just open it
Because
up and
once
away you
again-
go. I've got a title ready to go.
I want you to hit the
Don't have
Mitchell
to work
Johnson
on it.
Award
Yeah.
if we can again.
Okay. I'll be back.
Nah.
God, we're rehashing a lot of old favourites. You don't
Lot
have
of old
cancer
stuff,
or
mate.
anything, do you? You're reminiscing
not
a lot
that.
here on the show tonight, Greeno.
Reason being is rehashing. Remember the old segment, Periscope, a week late?
Yeah,
Where
of
we would
course.
answer, we would answer questions that people had about last week's show
Yes.
a week later with no context.
Yes.
I'm doing that, but with the titles because we don't have Periscope anymore.
Right. So you've adapted an old segment and
Adapted, yeah, exactly.
reimagined it. Yeah.
I tell you what segment probably won't make a return, Damo.
Which one? The one that you're about to mention, ironically.
The gardening segment. I don't reckon that one's
Gardening
going to come back.
segment. That's better off dead. Do we still have? I think I took it off the board out of spite.
I think it's
to be
under
honest.
Daisies off the board in memory, but
No, it's
we'll wait and
gone.
see.
I got rid
It's
of
gone,
it.
you wiped it.
Wiped
Oh, that's a
it.
shame.
Yeah, unfortunately. I've
That's
still
a
got this
shame.
one on here, but
No Earth report from BE though.
no Earth reports. Yeah, so that's going
Yeah.
to waste, that button.
That's it. Well, in that spot, we should probably bring the gardening segment back.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't think we should rehash the idea we've literally just buried. We just patted the
Good call.
last pile of
We
dirt
just
with the
made it
back of the
compost.
shovel.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Yeah, it was like maybe we should dig it up again. Nah,
Yeah, nah, that's fine. That one's better off dead.
better off there.
David, I'm also referencing our seventh listener, Stephen Babb,
Yeah.
because he gets a shout out because he took on last week's pepperoni challenge.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was
So
a
we
challenge until he.
I didn't realize it was a challenge
messaged me.
either until we get DMs from
Yeah, so
from
he sent
Stephen.
me this along with Child's Play, basically the 100 slices of pepperoni ? Child's Play, and then Greeno followed it up with this one, and this is worth investigating. Now I actually see what he's thinking here. Now he's going for the 5 slice grab. I call it a fiver, Greeno. He's going for a fiver out of the pepperoni slices. Now, if you think about it, he only needs to eat 20 fivers in order to get to 100 slices. Now that he's put that out there, I want to put the challenge out to the rest of the blockheads in the community, Greeno. How quickly now can you eat 20 fivers, 100 slices of pepperoni? You can go for whatever strategy you want. That's fine. But I want to, I personally, I like this idea. I like the 5 slice strategy. That works for me, because it's 20 piles. If you sat 20 piles in front of you, stack them nice and neat so it looks like one piece of thing. And then it's only 20 things. It's 20 tiny mini kind of, what do they call those little mini hamburgers, Greeno? Slider. It's basically 20 sliders you've got to eat, minus the lettuce, the buns, and the tomato, and the sauce, and whatever. All right? Just 20 slider meats. It's doable, I think. It's doable.
It's probably doable, but I still think because there's a psychological element to that. Because I look at that and I'm seeing a heaviness. Because if you eat a thin slice of pepperoni, it feels like nothing, right? Because it's got a weightless to it. Now, I think I'd probably feel better psychologically if I consumed 5 individual slices compared to that big five slicer chunk, a slider, if you will, of pepperoni.
Yeah, I reckon you could take a whole pepperoni 5 slicer slider in your mouth at one hit and just chew it and then grab the next one. Fold it. I would fold it in half like a big New York pizza slice and then eat it like that.
No, now you got double density because now you've thickened the pepperoni slice twofold. Now you got a 10-fold.
Yeah, but that doesn't bother me so much. I think that would be easier than kind of holding it like a mini pizza. So I'd kind of fold it in half, and then that way I can eat it in 2 bites. I can bite it in half and then finish it off because it's a different kind of shape. If it's in a mini pizza shape, it's going to take you 3 bites minimum, I think, to finish it off. Unless you shove it in there in one, and then
eating pepperoni in bites, mate. Like it's
good point.
Nice, pepperoni in your mouth, you chew, you're done. Yeah. So I think the texture issue is where we come into play. The thinner slice is going to leave a nicer texture in your mouth.
Well, speaking of texture, now I'm glad that you raised texture as a point of a talking point here on this very important issue we're dealing with here on the show.
It's a big issue
the
here.
Pepperoni challenge.
Stuff.
Yeah, we need to know what's correct. Now, texture-wise, is it acceptable to have oven-baked slices of pepperoni like you might find on a pizza and gives them a little kind of crunchy little firmness, Greeno?
Yeah, well, I didn't specify. With said challenge, I didn't specify raw pepperoni. Well, technically pepperoni's cooked, but like fried pepperoni or non-fried pepperoni fresh out of the pack. Take your pick. Personally, I prefer a crispy pepperoni.
I don't know if this would work or not, but I feel like if I could do it right, lay them out on the grill like, say, you would for bacon if you wanted crispy bacon, and then I would do them like that and then eat them like a bag of chips, like out of a big bowl, just pepperoni crispy chips. Kind of, I don't know if I'd just put a bit of salt on them or something, bit of olive oil, mix it around, Yeah, would that work? I don't know, but I reckon I could do that if over the length of a movie. Say, I could easily smash a bowl of pepperoni chips.
Here's the counter argument to that, though. Okay. Now, when you fry that bad boy up, you activate the fats and the grease that comes out of the pepperoni. So from there,
it'll be tasteless.
Now, well, not so much that. You've now got the oiliness of the pepperoni slices that you're dealing with, which although they're still inside the pepperoni when you're eating it, like the Bab example here, it's you're dealing with something else because now you're dealing with the oil on your palate.
Right.
So suddenly, and when you eat something a bit oily, like if there's a bit too much oil, the
residue is just stuck there.
Then suddenly you've got that heaviness that isn't there to begin with, and it kind of throws out the balance.
Yeah. It's very
once again,
a point of consideration, definitely.
This seems like something that Stefan Sears should be putting in a poll.
Yep.
Just putting it out there, considering he's verified.
Can we get someone else to put out a poll and say is Stefan Sears still doing polls? Yes or no?
Polls, but we can't because remember, only people that are verified can do a poll.
Polls, that's right.
And only people that are verified can vote in the poll, which means no one can vote for it.
That's right, because no one we know is verified, probably except for Stefan Sears. He's the only one that is verified. And he's doing a poll and no one can vote for it, which is unfortunate.
So in the end, we know there's one vote. That's Stefan himself.
How about can we get someone else out there to start a poll and says, can you vote in Stefan's poll, yes or no? And if we get 100% replies to yes, then we might have to consider moving the poll responsibility onto someone who's able to administer it. Yeah,
one of the other 6 listeners.
One of the other ones. Yeah,
I like
someone without a blue. Someone without verification. Great.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Elon's such a fascist for making us jump through these hoops, Greeno, to get our poll out.
It's a bit ridiculous. We're not going to get that shit over there at Gooden.life, though, Damo.
Gooden.life is going to rip Elon's balls off, metaphysically, Greeno. We're going to have so many polls, you're going to be sick of fucking polls. You know what?
Too many polls, if anything. We have to scale back the polls.
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Executive decision. We've changed it. No longer can you post one post per day. You can only post one poll per day.
One poll.
That's it.
That's it. Every Gooden needs to be done in poll format.
Are Don Camero's box turtle bargains as good as I think they are? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Is it Magic and Pants or Magic and Pets? Yeah. Vote A or B.
Yeah.
All very good. All philosophical. All very delicious. And that's kind of good stuff you can get over there at Gooden.life.
Gooden.life. Still in development, by the way. Gooden.life.
Yeah, still in development. Yeah. It's all good. However, we'll put a little caveat on that. If you manage to pass the pepperoni 130-minute challenge, we will allow you a second Gooden for a month.
For 1 month, that's a big commitment. I had my finger hovering over the Nice Gary button as you were setting it up. And when you said for a month, I'm like, no, that's too much. Because, we're going to want to have bigger prizes one day and we need to allocate. And I would say, like, you get 2 good ones for one day. That would be the ultimate mega prize.
When I say you've got 2 good ones for a month, I mean, as in, like, you've got one day in that month to choose to use 2 good ones.
Nice,
Gary! Very well.
Like, we're not going to fucking shoot our wad too early with the pepperoni challenge and just handing out good ones willy nilly. That's just silly.
That's right. That's like, we don't want to be the judge on the panel when the first kind of Chinese woman comes out for the rhythmic gymnastics and gives a 10 straight out of the block. You don't want to be that guy. We've got to be a 7.
Foot in the water. Yeah, we got to go 7.4.
Could be the greatest ribbon throwing you've ever seen in your life, but you're only getting a fucking 7 because my reputation is on the line here.
There's only one Nadia Comaneci.
That's right. Did she even win stuff, Nadia Comaneci?
Pretty sure she did. Wasn't she very... that's the only reference
she was in Seinfeld, was she not? Is she the one that was in Seinfeld? She was Russian and then like defected to America or something?
Nah, that was someone else.
That was someone else.
Nadia, here we go. A Romanian gymnast.
Romanian, okay.
I'm pretty sure she got a perfect 10 at some point.
Right.
As like a 6-year-old. Here you go. How many perfect 10s did Nadia Comaneci get? Let's go into that article. 6.
Wow, that sounds like a lot.
Seems like a lot of perfect 10s. No one has ever achieved perfect score in gymnastics until Nadia Comaneci at the 1976 Summer Olympics. She earned the nickname the Goddess of Bell. Over the course of her Olympics career, she would earn an additional 6. So, sorry, she got 7, and that was all Olympics. That doesn't even include
She's the Mark Spitz of gymnastics, Greeno.
Exactly, yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And she literally does look like she was 6 years old.
Do you know, that's fantastic. And now that we're thinking about it, I've just a quick little story time.
I like stories about pinatas.
Because we touched on a couple of stories last week, Greeno. First of all, we need to make a correction to the story about Ignaz Semmelweis. When you, in a comical fashion, said, well, on the upside, at least he didn't die of an infection. We do have to correct that. He actually did die of an infection. He died of gangrene after he was half beaten to death by the guards in the medical nut house that his medical colleagues threw him into. So for discovering germs, which they didn't believe him and thought he was crazy. He ended up dying of an infection in the medical hospital. Like, fantastic stuff. Now,
trying to work out whether that's a storybook or not.
No, he's already dead. He won't mind.
No, but I think just for the sanctity of our show, I feel like it's a storybook.
I don't want to upset
him. While we're handing out storybooks, better hit it again after.
Again?
Okay. Yeah, just one more. And look, actually, no, don't hit it. I'm going to let you decide.
I think I have to wait for it to finish.
Oh, someone a storybook, right?
Yeah.
So, it's being played now. The storybook's out there.
You may as well play it now.
Better do it. So, in the background at work today, I had the NFL draft going. And occasionally I turned the volume up when it got to the point of like, hey, there's actually a pick instead of all the bullshit that was in between each
Thank you
pick.
for reminding me I need to rewatch Draft Day again.
Draft Day. I watched it last night. Very good. Always got a Vontae back.
I've only seen it the one. That's why I'm excited to watch this one again because I've only seen it once and it was probably like over a year ago now. So I think I'd really enjoy watching it again for a second time.
It was literally a year ago at last year's Draft Day. We were like, bro, you got to watch Draft Day. And you watch it.
Oh, really? Okay. So it was about a year ago then.
Literally a year ago.
Yeah, fucking yeah. Fuck yeah. All right.
So
Fantastic.
very good film. I got through half of it last night before I crashed out. Was pretty late and I had to get up for work. So that's all fine.
And you have seen it probably 6 or 7 times.
And I've literally seen it 20 times.
Yeah.
So it was so good. So had it on the background when I was working away and plenty of calls today. So couldn't be fully focused on the draft.
I hate those heavy call days now that I'm an office schlub and have been for the last couple of years going, those heavy call. Look, I'm pretty good on the phone. I've got a good phone manner, probably much better on the phone than I am in writing. In writing, I tend to be very formal and kind of short with people, but it's because it's writing and it's for a purpose. And it's like, hey, please send me this document. Thank you. that's the way it goes. But on the phone, I'd be like, hey, man, what's going on? All good.
Chit-chat, camaraderie. Yeah, exactly.
if you get a chance, can you flick me that fucking thing that I've been asking for you the last fucking 2 weeks? Can you do that for us? Is that going to be all right?
Whereas the written response to that is like, dear sir, I referenced
as per previous request.
Dated blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I'd like to remind you that this document that I requested
nice,
in
Gary.
paragraph 4.8. Yeah.
Absolutely, Greeno.
So I had it on the background. So what would happen is in between calls, and normally what can happen with me is I've been in this job for so long now that I can take a call, answer these people's questions, and still be able to pay attention to the baseball game or the surfing or whatever happens to be on in the TV because I can multitask and I just know what I'm doing in my job because I've been there forever.
Yeah, I'm actually more comfortable when I'm multitask. Like, I work better if there's a lot of shit going on, music going or something going that helps keep me focused. If I have to sit there like I'm in a fucking library, I'm going to be distracted by every single person walking past me, every noise that's being made. You know why? Because it's a morgue in there. My brain needs activity, Greeno. It needs sustenance. And sometimes, I know this is sacrilege to some people. Sometimes work is fucking boring, right? So sometimes you need something to keep you motivated, keep you focused. And if that's a few tunes or whatever it is, listen to a podcast or whatever, that's the way you go. If you have to sit there in that kind of sterile environment and it's just, it's no good, Greeno. It's definitely no good. It's a mood killer,
100%. So I had the draft on in the background, and what I'd do is I'd turn up the volume when I saw a pick was in, so I could hear what the pick was and move on to the next one, turn it back down, get back to work, look over 20 minutes later, hey, we're up to pick 14.
Yeah.
So turn up the volume, and there was this very, very obnoxious kid who they let do the announcement for the New York Jets. Yeah. And it was just no good, right? So
first of all, you've got no right to be obnoxious when you go to the fucking Jets, okay, mate?
No, I'm talking not the person going to the Jets. There was a kid, like an 8-year-old, who was announcing the pick for the Jets.
Ah, right. Well, fuck him too, though, because the Jets,
very irritating, right? Yeah, very, very irritating. Big Jets fan, very, very irritating. Now I turned it on to the last minute. To the point where this kid was so obnoxious that I felt the need to DM Troy and BE.
You were personally, hang on, let's unpack this. You were personally offended by an 8-year-old on television, Greeno. That's the story, by the way.
I like stories about pinatas.
We need to fucking scale it back, right? We need to scale this bad boy back a little bit.
I like that you're taking this stance against, like, kind of everyone, people are leeching off the cuteness of children, and it's not fucking right, let's just keep it professional and shit, Why we make it? That's because that's a gimmick. If you roll an 8-year-old kid out on draft day to make the announcement of which player they're going to pick, I'm sorry, that's a fucking gimmick.
It's terrible. It's not good.
Yeah.
So I felt the need to message BE, message Troy, message also a bloke at work. Yeah. And who was talking about the draft with me. And I'm like, mate, how obnoxious is this kid from the
this kid is
Jets,
so
mate?
obnoxious.
So obnoxious. So then I get back to work, I turn it back down, I'm fucking working away, and I go back to my DMs, and then I see a reply from Troy, and he's like, Greeno, the only dude cheering on the cancer. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Cheering on the cancer? The kid had cancer?
So then I look it up. It turns out the kid was a fucking Make-A-Wish Foundation kid.
Oh, and that was his wish, Greeno.
And then so suddenly I look like the bad guy.
You are the bad guy. Fuck you. I can't even believe I'm associated with you,
Why
mate.
didn't
I can't believe
like at work reply back to me. And
next week next week I need to draw my fucking lines here. Next week some up and coming blogger is going to approach me and they're going to say, so do you support Greeno in his anti-dying children stance, like his need to throw hatred on, kids who are dying and stuff? I'm going to be asked to answer those questions, and I need to say right here, right now, I don't really know this guy at all. We just met kind of over the internet. We do this once a week. We don't really know each other. All that stuff we talk about being friends, it's not really true, okay?
Nice characters.
Yeah, it's just characters. We're playing characters. We actually hate each other in real life, clearly.
Yeah.
Don't
even know each other.
Obviously. Yeah. So, look, I hate sick and dying children too, just as much as he does, okay? So it's not even about that. But it's just the fact that we're not really friends, all right? So there you go.
Nice, Gary!
I think I fixed it, Greeno, by the way.
And then I felt the need to apologise. I'm like, do I need to send a message to the boys? Go, I didn't fucking realise it was a dying kid.
No.
But then it got me thinking another thing of like, hang on, why am I giving this kid a pass? He was still fucking obnoxious. just because he's dying, does that give him a pass?
I gave you the perfect out. I just shielded all the grenades for you. I thought I'm gonna jump on this grenade for my buddy here.
Segment's not funny
take the
that way.
heat off him. Fuck him. He's like, no, I'm not finished machine gunning this fucking theory yet. I'm gonna turn this thing into Swiss cheese, mate. Look out.
So, hence the reason you need to storybook the poor kid.
Nice, Gary!
Well, no, you went with your gut. It's first impressions make they last. So
I didn't realise he was a dying kid.
dying or otherwise, it doesn't mean you have to like him. That's
well, that's it. That's my point. That was my point in argument number 2. Like, well, I don't have to.
I wouldn't have anything personal against the kid because I'd be like, well, he's being obnoxious because he's 8 years old and he's been coached, or they think it's funny, or the adults are still using him. The only reason he's on TV, like he didn't storm into the boardroom one day and start insulting people and say, I demand you put me on a draft day. Some adult is using him for something. So that's what
look, let's say for argument's sake, this was a popular program and then there was some social outcry tomorrow, right?
No one's on
ESPN, we are story number 1. Can you fucking believe what this guy said on his podcast? Or
to be honest,
Twitter?
Something like that would actually do wonders for our show.
It'd be amazing. So if you get out there, that'd be great. To which I'd point out my comments about in this particular scenario is a great deflection from all the fucking criminals that are in the NFL and the millions that are being robbed,
dog fighters, rapists,
rapists.
Please.
Every third week, like if we
let's not get into a finger wagging competition here, NFL. All right,
like you pointed out, the sick kids being up there on the podium was kind of a way of like, hey, we're fun-loving NFL. We're making wishes come true. Well, whilst we're over here raping and destroying lives, let's fucking calm down, shall we?
The NFL isn't throwing stones, Greeno. They're driving an Abrams tank through a glass house. You know what I mean? Like they have so many fucking stones that it's like shotgun pellets, Greeno.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's not go down that path. But anyway,
So we've got our bases covered. If any kind of
I think we handled that well.
Tomorrow, we're covered.
Yeah, totally. And if a lawyer rings, don't answer it. Pretend you're not home. Obviously,
that's how we roll.
Don't engage. If a stranger comes up to you and tries to shake your hand, turn away because it's probably someone who's trying to, hand you an envelope that says you need to appear in court. So don't do that either. All right.
Defamation of character.
So the out there for the blockhead screen. Yeah,
that's how we roll. Yeah. Dame, I want to do a dick move if we can.
Please.
You dick!
Now this one goes to my kids' school, which I find hard because I actually quite like my kids' school. They do a lot of good things.
You're an accepting person. I hate every school, so
that's
they
fine.
must be okay.
Generally okay. Like my daughter had her first ever cross country yesterday. We've been training. We talked about it on last week's show. She did well. First time ever in the cross country. Finished top 20. So
well done, nice Gary.
Yeah, very nice Gary to my daughter. And I realized until I got home, and I realized she was going up against people 2 years older than her.
Oh fuck yeah, absolutely.
I'm up there. So obviously I went along, watched her run. I'm like, she's doing really well. Like she's running most of it, coming back. But the kids out front, like they're little athletics kids. Yeah. Like they were running the whole way, and they were like keen. They were pacing. They were solid. But I'm like, that kid seems a bit big. Then I realized,
it was a man all along. Greeno.
Yeah.
Well, it's about who you identify as, really.
Exactly.
Mate. Yeah,
Whereas when we were growing up, it was just your grade, right? So your grade would go out, like your grade 3, all right, grade 3, you go run.
I don't want to hear this shit about inequality. When I was 10 years old, I used to have to play rugby league against fucking Samoans, Greeno.
Yeah.
And I was a big kid, don't get me wrong, but I was a big white kid. That means I was fucking gangly and lanky and awkward. Yeah. These big Samoan kids were my height, but like 3 times.
Kilo.
Yeah. We mentioned the Abrams tank before. They were the Abrams tank of the 10-year-olds. Yeah. And it's all right. Yeah, and the coach would say, all right, now move your head to the left and try not to break your neck when you try and tackle him. And it's like, really, man? This fucking sucks.
Get a rampage in the middle third. This is not good. Did you put me out of the wing, coach? No. You're 10 years old and you're 5'9". Like you're in the middle.
Yeah. It's like, oh, come on. And it's just because I'm the biggest guy in the team. It's like, man, I just want to stay at home and play Star Wars video games. You know? I don't even be out here.
It's a win.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, my daughter up against kids 2 years older than her because they don't do grades, they do age brackets, which is fine.
Yep.
So I explained to her,
Some
I'm like,
sports do it in weight, Greeno, now. They're like, well, if you weigh between sort of 50 and 60 kilos,
running
you're in
isn't
this
really an issue when it comes to, well, it is, but, cross country, you're all good.
Well,
so that
yeah, the lighter you are, usually the quicker you are, generally, in cross country running. Like,
exactly. You're now fickle.
well, I don't see too many 150 kilo 12-year-olds win at cross country events.
I also didn't see many 150 kilo 8-year-old girls running yesterday either. So
but there was that one guy who won it though, wasn't there?
Who won it? Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
I was tempted to whack on a frock and just start going.
It's about who you identify as, mate. That's what it's about. Yeah.
So we had a good time yesterday. They made a whole event out of it. It was good fun. Got to go see her do that. That was very, very nice.
Yep.
So I came home, told the wife, I'm like, hey man, this is amazing. Like, I love this school. It's really, really good. Until today, when the daughter's like, hey, I got a note for you. And I'm like, all right, cool. I just assumed it was like a Mother's Day thing. There was a store, blah, blah, blah. So no, it turns out it's an invoice.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, what's this? And we're like, it's the stuff we're going to pay for this term. So I'm reading through it.
Hang on. Invoices now from the school? Like it's a fucking, like I went there and bought cutlery or something? Like, hang on, invoice? What are you doing?
Well, it's like, the old days you go on
I didn't order a box of education. I'm sending my stuff to you. The child is the commodity at a school. If there are no children, there are no fucking schools. If they should be paying us for supplying them with a fucking job. Here's a product. Now go and add value to it and send it back to me. Like, fuck me. Invoices.
I'm talking about the old
horror
days.
stories coming out about
if there was an
parenthood.
excursion, you'd get a note, and back in the old days, you'd go, here's an envelope with $8 in it.
Yes.
There you go enjoy your trip.
Yep.
Now you get an invoice, which is fine.
That's right.
Now,
and I used to, they probably got rid of that because kids like me used to wag the trips and, show up and say, I'm not allowed to go on the trip, stay at the school and then spend the money at the canteen or
$8
something.
in slushy. Yeah.
Go and buy basketball cards at the shops at St. Clair shops, Greeno.
Okay, cool. Actually, side story time before we get back to the big
I like stories about pinatas.
It was Mother's Day stall today. So the daughter's like, look, need money to get mum a present, and can I buy Nana a present? I'm like, yeah, man. So once again, I'm not a fucking idiot. So I checked the price range of the stall on the app, and they said like gifts are between $1 and $8.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, if you want to buy a present for mum and Nana, I'll give you a 10.
4 and 3.
Yeah, like
one for me.
I'll give you a tenner and you're good to go. That'll cover both presents. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
So hand over the tenner. All good. Send it to school today. She gets home. I'm like, hey, did you go to the store? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what'd you get? She's like, I got this thing for mum. I'm like, excellent. What'd you get for Nana?
Yeah.
I didn't get Nana a present.
Whoa.
And I'm like, hang on. And she's like, I got mum 2 presents. And I'm like, hang on.
No, hang on.
Well, let's back up one sec. I said,
did you keep $4 in your pocket, maybe?
Maybe tell the story. So I was like, hang on, what do you mean you got mum 2 presents? She's like, I got mum 2 presents. I said, no. The note specifically said you can only pick up 1 present for mum. Mm-hmm. And then if there was presents left at the end, you could go buy 2. So she's like, yeah, no, I did. There was more left over at the end. I'm like, but you didn't get anything for Nana. She's like, no. So I'm like, how much did each gift cost? And she's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
she's learning, at this point that her father actually really is a forensic accountant. And she's not going to get away with this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I gave you $8. I want receipts.
So I said, hang on. And I said, no, what did you get mum? She's like, I got this and I got this.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
she's trying to find a way out of it.
I said, how much did that cost though? And she's like, I said, did you get any? I said, okay, let's reframe this question. I said, when you had the first present in the morning shop, how much did you get back? And she's like, I don't know, $5, whatever. I said, okay, so when you went to get the second present, how much did the second present cost? Oh, I don't know. And I'm like, no. Okay, it doesn't matter how much it cost. After you got the second present, did you hand back over money? Did you get money back?
This is a cross-examination at this point.
So then I was like, okay, next question. What did you buy from the canteen today? I bought a slushie. Well, I didn't give you enough fucking money to buy a slushie.
The jinx is up. We got you.
Good on her. Like, I gave her a tenner. Now, I'm not sending her with any money. Fucking mum, no presents for mum anymore.
No presents, no money. Game's over. You're cut off. No more access to the family credit card, Greeno. You're
But good on
done.
her. She had a logic to it. She's like, if I buy 2, Dad will think I didn't fucking go buy a slushie from the canteen.
Yeah.
She went to go. So
She
well done.
did. Yeah.
Which brings us back to the dick move. So I get this note.
Nice, dude.
And it was like, oh,
Dick.
here's the invoice. And I'm like, what's the invoice for? And she's like, oh, it's for these things. I'm like, hang on, whoa. They're asking me to pay for an excursion and also a sports activity that's already started that I haven't signed off on. So they've invoiced for something that started today that I haven't approved yet, but I didn't realize I had to pay for this dance activity.
Well, see, again,
And
this
I'm
is
like, well,
this is very transactional for so-called quote-unquote kind of free education system, right? This is very transactional business style to me. Like, I'm sorry, we can't offer this service to your child because you have not paid your invoice. It's like, wait a minute. Isn't all the taxes kind of covering this?
I don't mind that. If they said to me, no dramas, where my issue was she started the dance activity yesterday. I didn't realize I had to pay for the activity. I got an invoice
We're
today.
already paying for it, though. That's
and
my
I didn't
point.
sign for it. And I'm like, oh, no. So I said, so what happens if they finally get a note for this dance activity? And I just go, no. Like, do you just get the
I'm not
first
paying
2
for
lessons free? I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
What are you going to do? Break my fucking legs? Come on. You know, what are you going to do? I'm not paying for it. Go fuck yourself. Actually, nice Gary. You should do that.
Cool for invoicing me for something that's already started without me signing a permission slip.
Mate, if you refuse to hand over your email address in a shop that's trying to sell you jeans, you should absolutely refuse to pay the invoice from the public education system. You should proudly go in there and say, no, I'm not paying it. What the fuck are you going to do about it, pussy? You know, like, what are you going to do? I'm not paying the invoice for $12 or whatever it is you're fucking asking me for. It's not happening.
$9. So I'm going to pay it. But the principle of it, oh, no.
Take a stance, brother. Take a stance. Lead the way. Be the first one out of the trench to take the machine gun fire.
Specifically to waste their time about this particular point. I'm like, hang on, did you start a dance lesson that I have to pay for without me knowing I have to pay for the fucking dance lesson? Let's fucking back this shit.
I would refuse to pay the invoice, and then I would coach my child to beg the teacher to let them continue to be able to be with their friends and say, it's not my fault my daddy doesn't want to pay the invoice. I'd train her to do that. Just like to twist the fucking emotional knife on the teacher, you know.
There's the I'll take the $9 out of my teacher's.
But Mrs. Smith, I will sweep up the schoolyard if you let me do the dancing. It's not my fault. My daddy's mean and won't pay. I'll train her to fucking do that and get the free shit. How do you like that?
Nice,
I don't know anything about parenting. You don't know anything about the public education system. Together we fix it, Greeno.
Good time for a break, sir.
You got to give me more lead in than that. I mean, it's always oh shit. See.
Do you like your novelty comedy songs organic? Handmade with painstaking care, put into every note? Well, look no further than Irrational Times. Using only the finest instruments to create an experience that your ears will thank you for later, Irrational Times attempts to elevate the whimsy to a desirable level. New songs and sketches every week. So check it out.
There's a place that we can go to watch old things. All the warm, fuzzy member berries it brings. It's a special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pepsi. Campy old movies and old cartoons. We hope to see you over there very soon. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pepsi. When we were kids and there wasn't any school, we'd sit and watch all the best cartoons, eating cereal until it was noon. We never thought that 30 years later it'd still be cool. Saturday night and cheesy movies, the ones that used to show us boobies. It's our special little spot tucked away on D-Live. Enjoy the joy of Pepsi. Enjoy the joy of Pepsi. Enjoy the joy of Pepsi.
now with less than 3% sport content. It's the starting block on tavshow.com.
Yes, welcome back to the block, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Don't forget you can get us on good.life. And a little shout out, Greeno, to probably the most active member of the starting block community, the worldwide community, Greeno. Of course, as you know, we're huge in Vietnam and always have been. Jim Edwards joining us in the chat tonight, Greeno. Big contributor to the show.
We feel
Jim
that
Edwards famous. Jim Edwards famous here on the show for constantly contributing wonderful content ideas to our Discord, and Greeno completely ignoring them in his rundown every week. That's what he's famous for. Yeah.
That's what Jim said. That was exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is because I don't. The only time I open the Discord is when the show starts.
Yeah, I know.
And then I log off and I close it.
You're just not around. You're not a social media guy. You never have been, and I applaud that. That's fine.
Trying to avoid socialization where I can.
Jim, I'll tell you the best way to get something seen by Greeno is probably I don't know if you're back on Jim. See, Jim refused to use Twitter for years and years because he got perma-banned off it when it was back under the old management, Greeno, under the old ownership. Now there's new ownership, so I don't know if Jim Edwards back on Twitter, but that's probably the easiest way to get hold of Greeno is just message him and say, "Hey, it's me." Hey, it's Jim. Here's an article.
Here's a link.
Yeah, here's a link on Twitter because literally everything.
Hey, there's the rundown.
Because literally everything we use on the show is a link from Twitter because that's the only platform that Greeno uses for 80s movie sport references and tits, and that's pretty much it. We talk about betting, on Twitter, and that's about it. That's what he uses it for.
Yeah, I don't actually go on Twitter. I go onto the DM section of Twitter where I chat with you, PE, and Troy, and occasionally Stephen Babb when he's talking about Pepperoni.
Usually about how we lost by one fucking leg in some multi-bet that we had cooking over the weekend.
Today,
yet again.
Can we give a dick move to the fucking Atlanta Braves closer?
Dick!
Yeah.
13-1 multi, first leg of the day. So I didn't even have the joy.
13-1, that's a heartbreaker.
I didn't even have the joy of it getting to the last leg and losing it at that point. First leg of the day, and the Braves closer blew a 4-0 lead in the top of the ninth, and was my only missed leg. And I'm like, well,
you know what though? At least I kind of prefer losing the first one because now I know I don't have to care about any of the rest of them.
Well, no, I cared more because I was watching the rest of the legs go up, and I'm like, tick, 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 tick.
I wouldn't. As soon as I lose a leg, I mentally check out of the whole rest of the bet. Like I'm not interested in the rest of it because it's over. It's finished. It's like it's done, so I move on. And so I don't even remember what the legs are after I lose a leg. But if it's the last one, you're riding that thing because every win gets you closer to the magical fucking completion of the ticket, And it's like, if it's the last one, those are the ones that hurt the most. Obviously.
They are a heartbreaker. But top of the ninth, up 4-0. We should be closing that one out.
Yeah.
Fucking for a team
definitely. He can't even call himself
14-4.
He can't even call himself a closer at that point. No, he's not. Obviously, he didn't close anything. Yeah.
He's got an 8 ERA. Would that information I probably should have known before fucking betting on the Braves.
You're normally all over the stats. How could you let that one slip through the cracks?
Because the Braves have been dominating. I just assumed their closer was good, but they must be winning by enough that they can cover up for the fact their closer's shit.
What's the latest on the Las Vegas A's, Greeno?
Still nothing. Still might be a ploy, Damo, to get a new stadium in Oakland.
Please.
Still to wait and see. But
because I'd really hate to not like them anymore, if they move.
Here's a fun fact for you, Damo. Okay. I sent this to the boys yesterday. The run differential, which is normally a pretty good gauge of how the team's going, right? Because you can have a bad win-loss record, but if you're losing close games, you feel like you're almost there. You know what I mean?
It's like
we're not that bad. We just had a couple of unlucky games. It is what it is.
But that's not AFL. Like in AFL, sometimes a team will lose because you get, if you're not from Australia or don't watch AFL, you get 6 points for a goal and 1 point for a behind, which is just missing the goal, basically. So one team can have 20 scoring shots and the other team can have 5, right? But the team who gets 5 can win because the other team who had 20 shots on goal missed all of them and got 1 point for each shot, and the other team who had 5 shots on goal kicked all 5 and they got 6 for each goal. It's the same kind of principle. Sometimes you just get beat. in poker, when you have two aces, that doesn't mean you're going to win 100% of the time. People think it means they're going to win 100% of the time. I got two aces. I can't fucking lose here. But that's not the way it works. You got like an 80-something or whatever it is, 92% chance of winning the fucking hand. 92% or 88% or whatever it is. That means the rest of the time, you're not winning shit. You're going out of there broke. You're fucked.
That's how it is. So for context, the Kansas City Royals are have the second worst record in the league. They were 6-19, I think off the top of my head. Yeah, 6-19 yesterday, and had a run differential of -52. Okay, so they're the second worst team in the league at 6-19. -52.
Jim Enward confirming he actually lost money on that bet as well.
Yes, I'm with you, Jim. Oh,
he's like, come on, that was brutal. I lost money on that as well. That was
such a kick in the dick, man. Oh, it was brutal. The Oakland A's.
That makes those are those moments you're like, it's fixed, right? It has to be fixed. Some fucking mafia boss has got pictures of the pitcher's sister, and he's like, I'm going to put this on the internet unless you fucking lose this game when the manager puts you in.
The game as well, like, if it was a team that had if it was like the Phillies, who have such a deep offensive team, they've sucked this year, but their offense, I know they can score 5 runs in an inning. You have a real deep. We're talking about the Miami Marlins, who have sucked offensively for about 6 years now.
Weren't they the Florida Marlins at one point?
Yeah, they were. But they changed that a long while back.
Really?
Once again, when they wanted a new public paid for stadium, they threatened to leave, and then they became the Miami Marlins.
Well, to be fair though, there's a lot of Cubans and shit in Florida that don't exist maybe in Oakland. So maybe the demographic is a little different, like people who really love baseball versus people who don't give a fuck about baseball.
No one goes to Miami games either, man.
Nice, Gary!
But so Kansas City Royals 6-19 record, -52. The A's are 5-20. Do you want to know what their run differential was? -112. So double as bad as the second worst team.
Not very good.
In run differential.
Yeah,
it's fucking terrible. So on average, they're losing games, even though they've won 5.
How did they win anything with that kind of stuff going on?
Like, even if they lost every game, you'd still be looking at about 4-run losses every game. But they've won 5, which means that throws off the balance.
Well, that's actually Greeno. If you think about it, that's actually pure Moneyball. Like, we will actually not only bottom out in salaries, we're going to bottom out in fucking stats as well, and still win 5 games. We're still going to win some games, even though we're losing in every statistical fucking column. We're going to still get 5 wins on the board. That's worth it, I think. That's worth going broke and pretending to go broke or whatever it is the fuck you're doing, so you can get to Las Vegas and get all that Jew casino money. Yeah. Nice, Gary.
Nice, Gary!
So that's where they're sitting at, the poor old Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Damo, want to do a new game with you, Damo. Okay. Now, you yourself, you've had dogs all your life. You're a big dog lover. Yeah. We had a little Missy, and now you've got your 2 donkeys.
The 2 donkeys.
You're big all in on the dogs.
I like the doggos.
I came back from my dentist appointment about a month back, and my wife had bought a dog in the house. Mike, where the fuck did this come from?
I've been wondering when this was going to come up. I'm so happy. I'm so happy we can discuss this finally.
Discuss this. So Greeno's like, this is why Greeno doesn't leave the house. I leave the house like once every 6 months.
I'm going to pour a drink for this. I need to hear this fucking. I'm going to hit the story time again.
About pinatas.
Settle in, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a hell of a fucking ride. Let's go.
Not so much a story. So Greeno's like, what the fuck? What's going on here? So Greeno had to take a moment and just go, well, this doesn't seem to make sense. There shouldn't be a dog here.
It's kind of like your wife showing up with another baby in her arms and going, 100%. Guess what? This one belongs to us too. And it's like, well, hang on. I don't remember putting a baby in there. How the hell did we come over this?
That was literally my argument. Because this has been a conversation for 2 years.
Devil's advocate here.
And this is a conversation. I'm like, hang on. So let's say I rocked up with an adopted kid and said, I know you told me you don't want any more children, but I want another kid. So here you go. We're taking care of this other kid for the next 10 years.
That's amazing.
So Greeno had to take a day to decompress. Greeno was very fucking angry. And I had 2 options. I could sit there and fucking lose my shit in front of the kids and kind of have a bad situation there, or I took a day, I fucking went out, got I was very, very bored because like I realized I like hanging out with my kids too much, came back the next day and then had to recalibrate and go, okay, well, how am I going to fucking deal with this?
I guess this fucking adopted baby is now living here, so we're going to have to figure this out.
We're going to have to work out a situation here.
Yeah.
So
we'll come up with some boundaries, some rules. Okay. We'll make it work.
So, yeah, we make it work. Now, first cab off the rank, any discussion around said dog was always, look, it's got to be an outside dog because, like, our house, it's fucking not very big. It's quite small. We don't have much room to begin with.
Okay.
So when I came home from my day hiatus, where was the dog positioned?
On the couch, I assume.
No, it's now inside a nice little area that used to be where I worked. So the dog now owns where Greeno used to work. So I'm like, where's my computer going?
The dog is now moving you out.
The dog has moved me out. So I'm like, how long is this dog going to be here? Until its body acclimatizes.
Well, until it gets old enough to get a job and get a driver's license, that kind of
I'm like, how long's that? And they're like, 6 to 8 months. I'm like, so 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months.
The one section inside my home is now got a dog in it. So
you actually work with the dog every day now, don't you?
Because that's taken over the area I used to work.
Oh, so you're working. You've been kicked out of your office by the dog. Yeah. The dog now owns your corner office with a good view and everything. And you've been relegated to a cubicle.
I used to use is now the dog section.
You're in a cubicle now. The dog's got the big office at the end of the hall.
It's got the office. It's got the corner office. So what I've come to realize though is the dogs get a lot of excuses made for them for their particular behavior. And it wasn't until about 2 weeks of me getting fucking fired up about
cute Greeno. That's
a
why.
bunch of different things. No, hear me out here. Okay. So I'm like, hang on, why is the dog doing this? Why is the dog doing this? Like the dog shouldn't be doing that. Why is it doing that? And the answer always was, puppy, it's a dog. Like dogs do that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm like, dogs seem to have a lot of excuses made for them because they're a fucking dog. Yeah. Now, if I did the things that the dog did, you'd be like, this dude's a fucking maniac. We can't let him inside the house.
But I'm gonna have to.
I like stories about pinatas.
I know this is probably going to have a happy ending, but I just need to interject here, and I'll say yes, that's true. You know why? Because human beings are garbage, and dogs are pure. They're pure. They just love you if you do the right thing, and they're just an innocent little, the kind of pure soul that you can have around the house, and it warms the house and makes it feel warm, and it's love, and they love you no matter what. You come home from work and they're jumping on you trying to lick your face and stuff. That's magic. Human beings are fucking garbage. I hate people, Greeno. Human beings lie and cheat and steal and rape and murder. No dog does that. They don't. So, that's why they can get away with more because they're pure little spirits.
All right. Okay. Now I hear that. Because that was the kind of good devil on one arm making the exact same point. So like this, pets give unconditional love.
The dog's going to love you more than any fucking human being will. Trust me. And it's
the
just
dog doesn't
true.
like me at all. That's something different. But
I want to hear about how the relationship's going. By the way, we're going to have to. This is now going to. So if you're listening if you're listening to this next week, look out for a show title called "The Dog." Okay, that's going to be the title of the show next week. Just so if you want listening now, as in next week, you need to go back to hear the story. What are we calling today's story? Whatever today's show is called, it's about the show that we did last week, by the way. So you'll figure it out. Yeah.
If you want to understand what this title's about, listen to last week's podcast.
That's right. And you'll have to listen to the week one before in order to figure out where you are.
Next week, we'll talk about something that's on this week's show. That's how it works. Yeah. So what I'd like to introduce on this show, Damo, is a new segment, a new game, if you will.
Okay, what's the game?
Called Dog or Bad Roommate.
Nice. All right. I don't have any game show music loaded up, so I'll give you the closest thing I've got, which I think is this. Sounds like game show music, I guess.
Nah, Don Camaro is going to be closer to that,
Don Camaro. No, that's a commercial. That doesn't really sound like game show music.
Cool.
How about one of these?
Chauvinists and
okay, welcome to the Dog Love Show. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. All right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give you a scenario.
Okay.
And then you're going to tell me if this is something by a dog or a bad roommate?
Oh, this sounds fantastic. Okay, I like this. All right, dog or bad roommate, which is
dog or bad roommate.
Okay.
So, example number 1.
Yes.
Scratching up your young daughter's arm so she looks like an emo cutter. Dog or bad roommate?
Oh, okay. Now, let's see, this is an unfair question to ask me because I have lived in a kind of party house for a while when I was young, and there was a lot of people in there scratching their arms on the weekends, Greeno. I don't know if you're aware or not. So I've had that bad roommate experience, but I'm going to have to go with dog.
Okay, yes, correct. That's a dog. So, Greeno's argument being, if I invited a roommate, a guest to come up, and they scratched up my kids' arms and fucked them all up, you'd be like, that's inappropriate behavior.
You're not coming back here ever again.
Exactly. You're not welcome back in the house.
That's right.
Dog, though, that one gets a pass.
Well, the dog is doing it out of love, I assume, unless, of course, the person who's doing it is also doing it out of love. They might be a deranged, criminal deviant as well.
Exactly.
They might be doing it. They think they're doing it out of love, but they're actually psychopaths. But the reality is the dogs are actually doing it out of love. There are no psychopathic dogs, Greeno. So, there you go.
Nice,
so we've fixed that one.
Should we play another round?
Okay,
We did 3 rounds.
Let's go.
We did 3 rounds.
Let's see if I can get 2 out of 3. Come on. Let's go.
All right. Round number 2.
Yes.
Goes in and destroys the better part of 24 individual clothing garments.
Oh, that's easy. I'm going bad roommate.
Nice,
Seen that one happen myself with my own eyes. That's bad roommate material, that.
You think so, Dame? Unfortunately, ding, ding, ding. That was the dog as well.
Dick!
Come on. I thought
Appropriate behavior.
I was so sure on that one, too.
We had discussions around costing of said dog. Were brought up before the dog arrived, and my disappointment.
It can get pricey, true.
So I gave certain figures. I said, look, here's my ballpark value of what I feel this transaction may involve. And I didn't realize it would also involve rebuying an entire kids' clothing range from destroyed clothes. Now, once again, if a roommate did that, you'd be like, we're going to fucking boot this to you.
Puppies chew shit, though. Puppies chew shit. That's what they do.
Chew, jump up, rip, destroy.
Yep.
It's all no good.
See, I'll give you the tip. Actually, what you need to do is get a second dog and hear me out here. So, swear to God.
Is that going to boot me out?
And
I
want you to play this. I want you to play this particular part of the show to Lady Greeno at some point. Greeno. What you need to do is get a second dog, because the second dog will actually entertain you. So what you do is you get a dog and then you get your dog a dog. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get the second dog to entertain the first dog, but you don't actually have to train the second dog. The second dog will actually take after. They'll just copy what the first dog does. So you can actually start a production line of dogs at that point, and they're like the previous one, trains the next one. So like our firstborn dog, Greeno, the big one, the big donkey. We've got a big donkey and a little donkey, right?
They're both donkeys, though.
They're both donkeys. Now, the big donkey is 1 year older than the little donkey, but they're also at like the opposite extreme ends of like the weight and height spectrum for this breed, right? We've got one of the ones that's like the biggest on record, one of the ones that's the smallest on record, just by pure happenstance. Yeah. Now, the big one used to literally chase us around, and I swear to God, she would launch like from 6 feet away and like latch onto your socks and like grab you by the ankles with her teeth and try to physically rip your shoes off. And these are Ridgebacks, so they play rough, you know what I mean? So even when she was a little puppy, like a little unit, like the size of a shoebox, that shit would fucking hurt because she's coming up out of nowhere and going, grabbing onto the bag. Now, when we got the second dog, that shit stopped. You know why? Because the second dog wasn't trying to get my sock. She was biting the ankles of the first dog.
She's fucking up the second dog.
That's right. And the first dog, then you also get that kind of, human satisfaction out of, now you know what it fucking feels like, right? Yeah. Now you see what you were doing to the rest of us. Yeah. That's right.
Nice, Gary.
Absolutely. So get your dog a dog, Greeno, is the best advice I can offer at this point.
Okay. Round number 3, Damo.
Yep.
Dog or bad roommate shits in your lounge room.
Ooh. This one's actually going to take a little bit of because I haven't had a roommate that's shit in the lounge room, but I've definitely had a roommate that has pissed in the kitchen sink, Greeno.
Happens.
So I don't think it's a huge leap from pissing in the kitchen sink to shitting in. Like at that point, you're relieving yourself in a place you ought not to. Put it that way, right? So you may as well relieve yourself any number of ways in any number of places once you've pissed in the kitchen sink. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you shit on the front lawn if you have to. What's the difference? You're an animal at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to say bad roommate, Greeno.
Unfortunately, it is the dog.
It's
Could have been
the
a bad
dog.
roommate, though. Could have been a bad roommate, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've seen both.
I've seen both too. Many times. Sometimes I was the both.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, you did all right. You went 1 for 3 in this week's edition.
Okay.
Of
I'll
Dog
get
or
better
Bad
next
Roommate.
week. I'll improve. I'll study.
I've got another 14 examples of dog or bad roommate. If a roommate
Nice, Gary!
dog does it, it
Well
gets a
done.
pass. So that's the new
Fantastic.
segment.
All right. New segment. I love it.
It's good to bring it back. What have we got there? Oh, Damo, I got a quick story time, if I can.
Please.
I like stories about
Oh, that's
pinatas.
loud.
I've overlooked.
Sorry, say again.
Have you got stuff in the rundown that I've overlooked?
What do we have in the rundown?
As in, like, outside rundown, stuff that you throw in. Have I missed anything of yours? That I need to throw in?
There was something I was going to throw in right at the start, but the show just got rolling and I just forgot about it.
It happens.
I wanted to put this up because I was, when I was loading the rundown, for some reason I was like scrolling through our old stuff and I came across the Unity Day stuff from this year, which was fantastic, by the way. Devin Retre, Gabriel Gatte, Alendra, what's his name? Lorenzo Lamas as Lamas, the Kenosha Kickers with JD Fortune.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And I thought, you know what? If we ever get to the point where we try to explain to Unity Day to someone else what it is, how would I explain it? And I'm thinking, well, it's a day that we invented that doesn't actually exist yet. It takes a year. It takes a year to plan. We're constantly like working on the ideas and stuff, and then the day comes and it's not real yet. It happens anyway.
It's real in our minds and it's real in the spirits of people. Now,
well, hang on, Greeno. And then I thought, well, actually, that's not true. It's also real in that it's been preserved and archived on Elon Musk's Twitter.
100% it has.
Hashtag Unity Day. So I thought, well, actually, if anyone ever asks what is Unity Day, I can just say to them on Twitter, like, all you have to do is search the fucking hashtag Unity Day. So I thought, well, hang on, what is on the hashtag Unity Day? And this came up from yesterday, Greeno.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yes, from quote unquote the Delaware blogger. Listen to this shit. We outside supporting Delaware State University, Joe Biden State, by the way, Greeno, for their 2023 Unity Day. Can you believe it? They're stealing our fucking day. These fuckers, these North American Delaware presidential fucks, Greeno.
If we can pause for a thought, if I can, sir.
Yep.
You got a shock of your life when you decided to look up that particular hashtag.
Yes.
Imagine the shock these fuckers at University of
when
Delaware
they looked up the hashtag.
And see tweets about Huey and Gabriel Gasse and pictures of Lorenzo Lamas riding a llama. And they're like, what have we signed up for?
That they're trying to get traction for their fucking weird little Delaware State University Alumni Association. Nobody cares about the Delaware State University Alumni Association.
No.
What they care about is Unity Day, Greeno.
The
Our
real
Unity
Unity
Day.
Day.
That's right.
I feel like it's an appropriate time to make our first Unity Day announcement.
Oh,
For
yes.
2024.
Oh, please. Fuck yeah. I've been waiting 3 months for this.
Wait 3 months. Normally we don't like making announcements, but
That's
I feel
not
like
true. Normally we start announcing the Unity Day for the next year, the day after the Unity Day that we've just had. So,
but I feel like our hand has been forced now by these other
'cause
imposters.
we got hot competition from the Delaware State University Alumni Association.
Yeah. Hot Unity Day comp.
Or is there otherwise known, Greeno, the DSUAA? That sounds like an evil government corporation, if you ask me. The DSUAA. Don't know if you can trust them.
I feel like this fake Unity Day is going to get no traction. I'm going to fucking troll the fuck out of this Unity Day hashtag for the rest of the week,
definitely.
I think.
Everybody should, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Because they're stealing our idea. We're the good guy here, not them.
Well, I think that's what we need to call out. I think we need to point out that
the real Unity Day. Yeah.
We've copyrighted Unity Day for the better part of 7 years now. Check the fucking hashtag.
Have we copyrighted it, though? I feel like that's something we need to pass by legally.
I feel like it's propriety limited, considering we've got 7 years of podcasts talking about Unity Day.
Yeah.
So I think
the thing is with anything you record, and I found this out many years ago because at the time I was involved in music, and I was like, actually, what if someone rips off my fucking songs that I've been writing here and recording? Yeah. And so I found out that you can only legally own the song if you're a poor person, put it that way. If you're a poor person, what you have to do is record your song onto a CD or some kind of recordable device. This is true. This is the advice that I got legally, like back in the day.
Yeah.
You have to record the song that you wrote, and then you have to go to the post office and mail it to yourself and then not open it. So
it's postmarked.
So it's postmarked and unopened, and that's the only real way a poor person can prove that they wrote their own song. It's that, well, here it is postmarked from 10 years ago and it hasn't been opened, and I present this as evidence. So that's the way you can do it. And at that point, I was like, well, this is no wonder only rich people get involved in music, because clearly this is too much work for the average stoner, in their garage playing guitar. Like, no one's going to bother with this.
No one's doing that.
No one's doing that.
But safe to say, they're not going to have anything postmarked that they created Unity Day well before our 7 years ago podcast.
That's true. Yeah, I think
we've
got the Delaware State. I mean, what intellectual resources could the Delaware State University call upon in order to fight this, Greeno? Clearly none. I mean, they're trying to take on Unity Day. I mean, we've won already. Yeah.
Hashtag Unity Day. So announcements for 2024. Now, what we like to do sometimes is
Jim Enworth's putting in the chat, hashtag good Unity Day, Greeno. So we've got the good one. That's actually a brilliant marketing ploy, because we have the good Unity Day. Therefore, by definition, all the other ones are bad.
Now, the only issue we're going to have, if this fake Delaware Unity Day brings Lorenzo Lamas and his llamas in, and then maybe ups it with, I don't know, maybe a Jason Priestley donkey show. Then
Priestley donkey show. Now, is it Jason Priestley dead, or was it the other one?
Luke Perry. That's the other one.
Luke Perry. Sorry.
Yeah. Then maybe we'll be in trouble. Until then, like, nothing's going to match our one. What we like to do with our Unity Day, though, is word of mouth spreads pretty quickly. Like,
imagine if Jason Priestley went to Delaware State University. He's like, I'm not going to accept this.
No.
This is unacceptable.
I'm doing a donkey show for you.
He'd obviously be listening to the show, Greeno. Jason Priestley. Well, he went to Delaware State. It's going to show up in his feed, isn't it?
Hashtag Jason Priestley donkey show.
Unity Day. He's like, I support Unity Day because I went to Delaware State. Who the fuck are these cunts?
I need someone to reply to this particular Delaware blogger. Hashtag Unity Day. Hashtag Jason Priestley.
Tag in Jason Presley and say, are you okay with this shit?
Yeah. Are you Jason Priestley doggy shows happening?
Are you the Jason Presley doggy show who went to Delaware State University? Is that you?
That's what we need. Oh, it's very good. What are we talking about? Unity Day.
You asked for any segments that I might have forgotten, and here we are.
That is the best thing we've had today. That's very good. Okay.
Jason Priestley now going to the, what was it, donkey shows at Delaware State University or something? I don't even know.
Right, the show's gone off the rails. We like what's happened with Unity Day, though, is word of mouth. So what happened is Dean Hutton, the word of mouth about Dean Hutton set the bar.
He's on parole.
He's on parole. But that led to, like, Huey and Gabrielle Gatte wanting to get on board.
Yeah, that's right.
Because, like, we feel like you got a bad experience. We feel like we can up the ante for Unity Day on the cooking scenario.
Well, to be fair, though, And yes, Huey and Gabrielle Gaday did get in touch and say that, Greeno. But like the thing with Huey, Dino wasn't doing a cooking show. He was doing a science show, but he was cooking in the science show. It's different to what you do, right? You just cook and you put the steak on the fry pan, and that's what you do. But Dean was actually explaining, look, children, if I pour this pot of boiling water on you with potatoes, it's going to scald you and burn your skin. Now, Jimmy, come over here and we'll show you. We'll show everyone what happens when skin gets boiled. It was a scientific experiment, basically.
Yeah, but I feel what happened is Gabrielle and Huey saw the fact that the hot stove was getting a bad rap.
Hot stove, that's right. That's what Dean was doing, wasn't he? He was involved with the hot stove for some reason. Nothing to do with baseball.
Nothing at all. But we realized, like, okay, we got to like build off this because suddenly it's becoming word of mouth. So we've gone from Dean Hutton to Huey and Gabrielle Gaday. And good news for 2024, word of mouth from Huey. Yep. He's got Tonya Todman involved for 2024. For Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. She's gonna crochet some beautiful blankets. Yes. For the guests as they walk in, like she might not be part of the show. Bit of craft with Tonya Todman.
She's the craft queen.
Who had lots of fun creating with the one and only Bert Newton on Good Morning Australia.
Okay.
Now, Bert Newton died 5 years ago and hasn't done GMA in fucking 10 years.
And then find a nice dark spot away from light and hang those up somewhere for a couple of weeks to dry. Now, you think that's funny? I can tell.
Tonya, they were great.
So basically what Tonya Todman did was appear on the mid-morning, not the breakfast shows, because the breakfast shows I would say are like from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m.
9. Yeah. And then you got the 9 till midday for the stay-at-home
those
mums.
mid-morning shows, which are always like they're like the B team,
100% B team. It's like, look, we've got these 3 people under contract.
Correct.
Just throw them at the 9 till midday slot and get them to do infomercials.
We've got these 3 octogenarians on contract because someone back in the early 1960s thought it would be a smart idea to sign them up to a lifetime deal, and we have to offer them some kind of TV spot for the next 20 years until they die, basically. So that's what we're doing here. Now, Tonya Todman was like on those shows, what they do is it's actually the show goes for like 3 hours, say between 9 a.m. and midday. Yeah. Well, most of that 3 hours is split up between commercial breaks that are actually commercial breaks, like the traditional commercial break that you think of when you think of TV commercial breaks. And then they would also do the in-show commercial breaks, which was like... Yeah, well, it was like the home shopping network, basically. Mm-hmm. So, someone would come on with like a fucking, like a
ab sculptor.
Sculptor or a potato cutter or whatever the fuck they're selling, whatever idea it was. Now, she was the one who was always selling the thing.
Gary!
So that's fantastic for Tonya Todman, Greeno.
No, she did. No, not only she do that, she used to do arts and crafts.
So
she was also on Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise with Huey, where she'd be doing these kind of fun craft segments with Bert. So she wasn't always problem shit. Here you go. She's got 2 mop ends and he's trying to make it to art crafts.
Look at that.
It was a very unfortunate.
Oh, Tonya's house burned down in 2018. That's no good, but at least we know she can build another one, Greg.
She can build it back up. There's some mops and some straw.
There's some wood that you sift out of the pile that someone's giving away firewood. That's a good foundation.
She had a 3 Little Pigs vibe to her rebuild, apparently.
Pigs vibe. I saw a great meme the other day. I think Elon Musk retweeted it, actually, ironically. But I love those Far Side cartoons, Grant. That's my favorite shit.
Gary Larson? Not Gary Larson. What's the guy's name? I think it's Larson.
Yeah, it is Larson. So so I just love those 1 square cartoons. Like, they're my favorites because I always think, like, in order to get a joke into 1 square in a cartoon situation, like in a comic situation, you have to be a fucking genius. You've got 1 picture that you can use and you use 1 sentence. That's it. That's all you get. Other people can be funny, but it takes them 5 minutes to tell a joke. Like, if you can tell a joke in 2 seconds in 1 picture and 1 sentence, I think you're a legitimate. That's real comedy shit. And
we've taken an hour and a half of your time. Not one funny thing's been said.
Well, that's it. If this show was actually real comedy, it would go for 5 fucking seconds. It would be one sentence, and you would laugh for a week about it. Like, I laugh about some of those, those Larson fucking comics. Like years later, I still laugh about them when I think about them. And Musk actually tweeted one out. And it was like it's like a little pig sitting on top of a house, and the wolf is there. And it's like the fourth little pig made his house out of wolf skulls. It wasn't. It wasn't something like it wasn't foundationally sound, but it sent a message. It's like, fuck, that is fucking hilarious.
That's very good.
Yeah. Oh God. Anyway,
so
Tonya should have done something like that, I guess.
Yeah, no, who knows? We haven't seen that. That's 2018, the rebuild. Who knows? Could have been made out of wolf skulls.
Yes.
But she'll be involved with Unity Day 2024, which is amazing. The real Unity Day, the good Unity Day.
Yep. Please don't put her in charge of building the tent, though, because obviously.
Yeah. We're not going to make her the fire marshal. Let's just make it that way.
That was much worse than what I said.
So I've already insulted dying kids earlier, so fucking how worse can it get?
I love that you say much worse things than me, yet I feel so much more guilty for the things that I say than you do. Like you say 10 times worse than what I do, and you're like, "Yep, let's march on, fuck them."
Well, the difference is
how do you get away with it? He can't keep getting away with it
because no one's listening. That's why I get away with it.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm going to skip the. Actually, no, I'm going to do this one. So, Damo, quick story time. Had to duck
I like stories about pinatas.
The other week, quickly pick up a few items and was fucking taken back to our childhood days where I saw Shoppies. Now,
this is
I like stories about
this is a big
pinatas.
story, though.
This is a big story.
You need to give a lot of. You actually need to give like
context.
proper backstory to this, because otherwise it's not going to make any sense to anyone. So
for our American listeners and listeners,
I haven't even heard the word Shoppies in like 10 years. This is going to be amazing. I remember the Shoppies, Greeno.
Shoppies are dudes. I guess in America they call them Mallrats.
No. Mallrats was the only thing I know about Mallrats was that movie. So
but it's the dudes that just loiter around.
But the Shoppies are more like a pseudo. The Shoppies are more like a pseudo street gang. They were also involved in low level crime, like dealing bags of weed and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, a little bit. But so would Mallrats, I guess. I don't know. I know I live in America. I don't really understand. But it's kind of that. So they're the dudes that don't actually. They hang around the shops all day.
Yeah, that's which is why they have the nickname the Shoppies.
But never actually purchase anything from the shop. Now, I tried to explain this concept to my wife, who didn't grow up out west. She grew up down south. And she was like, "What the fuck is a Shoppie?" And I was like, "You never had Shoppies?" She's like, "Yeah, we called them something else." And I'm like, "Do they steal shit?" She's like, "No, then they're not fucking Shoppies." That's like it's all got to have like this suspect criminal element, and they've got a certain aura about them where you're like, "There's just something's not right there." I feel these people aren't here to transact. You know what I mean?
He's asking for my lunch money, but I don't think he actually really wants to know what I want for lunch. Like, I think he's just trying to take it from me. Yeah.
So they have a certain look. Obviously, quite normally it's very baggy tracksuit pants because it's easy to flog shit.
The gayest thing they used to do was they used to wear these shorts, like athletic shorts, but they weren't actually athletic people. They were standing around smoking cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah.
They were all skinny as rakes, though, because they didn't eat and probably had very bad drug habits by the time they were 15 or 16. So their ribs would stick out. Now, they wear these athletic shorts that kind of flew out at the bottom, like short flares. And they used to wear brands like FUBU, which was like the black person brand. Yeah. And it's like, you're not a black person. Yeah. So it's the brand is literally for us, by us, but you didn't make it and you're not one of them. So you kind of look gay for wearing it. Yeah. And the other thing they would do is they would do shit like wear masseurs and have socks pulled up to their knees, like old people, like really weird kind of gang stuff.
Yeah. What you can get at the op shop.
Yeah, really weird stuff. They do shit like one sock pulled up and one sock down around their ankles and that kind of stuff. And I don't know if that was a gay thing or like, if you wear a ring on your left-hand side or whatever it is. I don't know.
That was another thing they used to do. They used to do a thing where you'd wear your tracksuit pant, one leg fully down, one knee up, like one leg up above the knee. And that was like, hey man, we're part of the shopping.
I once watched a guy who you had different groups in high school. The shoppies were a group and they were always recruiting like other, year 7, year 8, year 9 kind of delinquents. Those are the types that they would recruit and then turn them into hard cunts, no, dude, don't let fucking people down. And then there was other people who were just like the chill basketball court people. That's the people I used to hang with, but they were also tough guys, but they were more sport guys, not fucking like, let's hang out the front of the shops and try to intimidate people, but like, let's play footy and tackle each other, like, and more jockey maybe perhaps. Yeah. Now, I watched one of these jockey people. He was a couple of years older than me. One of these shoppy guys tried to pick a fight with him in the car park at the local shops, Greeno, across the road from my high school. The one that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And this guy like grabbed this prick who was trying to start a fight with him, and he punched him a couple of times in the face, threw him in a headlock, and then tossed him to the ground because he was a rugby player. He was like, you cunts are fucking skinny like you're heroin addicts. You're wearing socks up to your knees. You got these weird shocks. I'm gonna fucking mess you up. So he grabbed one and fucked him right up and threw him to the ground. Another one jumped in and he punched him a couple of times, kneed him in the guts, fucking threw him aside. And there's 20 of them standing around him, and I watched him standing in the middle of going, come on, you fucking pussy cunts. Come on, fucking come on. Do you know what they were doing the week later? They were walking past him going, hi, Daniel, how you going? Swear to God. One man, one 15 or 16-year-old. Hi, Daniel, how are you? It's nice to see you, mate. Good for you, mate. Yeah, well done.
Now, the shoppies aren't going to intimidate, actual adults or, big rugby players. What they do intimidate, though, is 14-year-old security guards.
That's true.
Put out in front of Foot Locker that weigh 12 kilos. Like that is generally their premise. I'm going to go steal some shoes, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's how they roll.
Ambelina in chat, Greeno, says the ones where the pockets end up at their ankles. Is that the ones?
They're the ones. They're the ones. Now, another staple back when we grew up, though, man. This is a bit of a back in our day, but
back in my day, fucking.
I like stories about pinatas.
We didn't even have shoppies. We just had black people.
The shoppies used to always have a bum bag so they could put their heroin in it, I guess. But that was the thing. Now, here's what I noticed. Now, the shoppies, in their essence, in the current generation, remain the same for most elements. Now, these shoppies I saw were loitering, had no intention to purchase anything.
No intention of purchasing is the big one. That's the one that's triggering you the most, isn't it? No intention of purchasing any products. How dare you be here? Your intentions are not pure, sir.
Consume or get out. That's what I want.
Consume or get out. That's scary. Don Camaro's lost his mind.
Don Camaro's lost his mind.
Consume or get out.
Total liquidation on all magic and pen supplies. Ducks, box turtles, magic wands, and gorgeous bond assistance.
And that's just the beginning.
Snakes, magic hats, puppy sweaters, disappearing ink, all at prices too low to mention.
Only Don Camaro's Magic Pets. Don Camaro's Magic Pets. See you there. Thanks, Don.
That actually reminds me, earlier this week I was designing Don Camaro merchandise. So you may, in the near future, for the 7 listeners, you may be able to purchase a Don Camaro t-shirt.
Mate, is that why you messaged me the other day and asked me my shirt size?
No, I did. That was actually a different shirt I designed, already ordered, but
I'm very excited to see it now.
I was designing a few different shirts. One of them...
Were you on Teespring? That's fun. I've designed a shirt on Teespring. I did very basic because I didn't know what I was fucking doing.
I was on Print Locker.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that one. That must be good.
Yeah, Print Locker, Australian company. So I went through them.
Aussie company. Nice, Gary.
Yeah.
I like stories about pinatas.
I'll do the other one as well, but the Don Camaro one I did was not very good, so I'm going to keep working on that over the weekend when I get a bit more time. But I'm hoping to be able to launch some block merch.
A range.
You can literally buy a Don Camaro t-shirt.
No one listens to the show. Why would anyone buy anything?
Stephen Babb and Robbie Thornton are going to fucking buy a Don Camaro t-shirt. I guarantee it.
Don Camaro t-shirt. You actually might scoop up some NoFX vans at least, I guess. Randomly on the internet.
That was Guttermouth, not NoFX.
Oh, got it. Well, yeah. Do they have fans? I don't know.
Very much so. Very, very good.
Okay.
Back to the shoppies. So everything was the same. Not really doing anything. However, looked the same. Had the hats, had the rat's tail, had the really unkempt hair. Aside from the very pristine rat's tail, didn't look like they'd shaved. Like had that prepubescent facial hair.
Yeah.
Not like the nice scruffy stuff we've got now as adults. That kind of like patchy, fluffy.
Well, they had that teenage situation where you can tell that the kid's fucking carving layers of skin off his face every day, trying to induce a beard. They had that kind of situation going. That's when you get the puffy stuff. If you actually just naturally wait until you're like, oh shit, I guess I need to get this shit off my face now, then you'll just grow a beard naturally and it won't look weird. It's when you try to induce a beard and you start shaving this little patch here and this little patch there. That's why you get patches later on.
So good. Yeah, you look like a dud. Yeah. So they're still the same. Now, the only variance I saw between current generation of Shoppy and previous generation of Shoppy, the bum bag was replaced by designer mail bags.
Nice. What's a mail bag?
Well, we're talking about it was like a leather thing. It was like Gucci.
When you say mail bag, I think of a bag that a mailman carries.
Like a man bag that was an over-the-shoulder leather man bag.
That's so fucking gay, man. I'm sorry.
Nice, I'm watching the whole picture. I'm like, Shoppy. Why the fuck has he got a Gucci bag on?
That's so weird. The kid's so weird, Greeno. Like,
both of them had it. There was two Shoppies going up the escalator. I was behind him, and I'm like, "Why the fuck do they both have these weird
they got
leather
a purse?
They've got a purse.
I could never be in. What is it? So two questions. One, Roddy, what is wrong with the kids today where they think they're being intimidating by wearing a purse? And two, what is wrong with the kids today who are intimidated by a guy wearing a purse? Like, I don't. Both of these connections don't make sense to me.
Yeah,
like they're carrying around purses now. These guys, that's so
100%.
Weird. Now the bum bag, we used to make fun of the fact that they used to wear a bum bag, but it also made sense. Why? Because they're packing their drugs and their money in there. Yeah. So if you see a guy with a bum bag, the general rule was where we grew up, if you see a guy wearing a bum bag and it's on the back, he's got it spun around to his back, guess what? He's probably a fucking drug dealer,
Or over the shoulder strapped to chest.
Over the shoulder strapped to chest was another one. He's probably a drug dealer. That's generally the rule. But now you got, the butch guys wearing handbags, Greeno. What is going on out there? What's happening out there?
It was a shocker to me. That's why I had to put in the rundown back-to-back weeks, so I didn't get to it last week. But I got to raise the Shoppy bag issue.
They're slipping.
It's no good. So Shoppies, pick up your game. Yeah. I felt like pulling them aside, but they were busy going into a Foot Locker to steal shoes again. So I was like, at least they're still keeping the same motif. they're going to nick the left shoe.
Some things never change.
Here's a story time for you.
Please.
So,
I like stories about pinatas.
There was a very small period after I left high school where I worked in a Foot Locker. It was fucking the worst job ever. Yeah. But they put me on like front security. And you know me, I'm like 12 kilos soaking wet. So putting me in there.
Greeno is a very capable, Greeno is the most capable, efficient kind of professional person that I think I've ever known in my entire life. And I'm not being biased, but I think he really is like one of those people. But security guard, that's not something that I would equate to Greeno's kind of stature. It's not what he's good at. You know what I mean? Manhandling people doesn't really work.
Especially working in Mount Druitt and it's nothing but 120 kilo Samoan.
Hey, look, it doesn't mean he won't fuck you up. Greeno will fuck you up if you push him the wrong way, but he's going to fuck... But he's gonna fuck you up in the way if you're trying to get leaves out of your gutter and you accidentally knock a beehive down. That's how he fucks you up. It's gonna be all out attack, randomly out of, oh shit, I wish I hadn't have done that. He's not gonna fuck you up like a Mack truck hitting you. You know what I mean? It's gonna be death by 1,000 cuts. It's gonna be fast and it's gonna be furious. But he will fuck you up. Yeah.
But in that time that I was working for like a very short period, they showed me the security things they did to balance out the fact that people keep on stealing shoes.
Okay, so you were letting all the thieves out, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not fucking. What am I doing?
I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. It was your job. You were the security guard, Greeno.
I was on $6 an hour.
So you happily took their money and then just didn't do your job, more or less.
Well,
that's the story.
Don't put me into a job that I shouldn't be taking.
Don't put it so. It's your fault. It's their fault. Like they deserved to have their stock stolen because they were so stupid to hire you to be a security guard in the first place. I love that logic.
I wasn't hired as a security guard. I was meant to be doing backroom fucking like stock packing and shit.
But they tried to slot you in. It's like, you can be the security guy.
And check people's bags. I'm like, I don't think I'm the man for the job, but I'll stand here and pretend to do it.
Yeah, look, I'm not checking anyone's fucking bag, man. If you can get away with it, good for you. Go for it. This company earns way too much and pays way too little. So you go ahead and you take what you can get, man. Look, I didn't see it happen. I'm not going to testify against you in court. But if someone asks me, I'm not going to fucking defend you either. I'm not going to say, oh, no, he didn't do nothing. He's a good boy. He didn't do nothing. I'm not going to do that. But if you can get away with it, fucking, if you leave a pair of Nikes around the corner for me, maybe I'll give you an alibi. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing I learned in my short time in Foot Locker. Nike is the worst brand ever because everything keeps on coming back because they're made by 3-year-olds on $1 an hour, if that.
Yeah, in Indochina somewhere. Yeah,
they all fall apart within 2 months. So I've never bought a Nike shoe in my life.
Yeah, general kind of commerce philosophy would dictate, Greeno, that if you put a gun to a 5-year-old's head, they're probably not going to make the best shoes that you can possibly.
Yeah, they'll make the shoe, but not very good.
They're not like Hans Christian Andersen, and the cobbler, in Holland, fucking the 1700s or whatever it was, who poured his love and his heart into his fucking shoes, and his No. These are children who are doing it in order to eat. So it's probably not going to be the best.
Not going to be the best.
Yeah.
The other thing I learned is for security reasons, they only ever put the left shoe out there on display.
Right.
So if you steal a shoe,
you only get the left. So do they put 2 lefts in the window, do they? Or
it's all lefts. No, because if you go to a shoe store, they only ever show one shoe, right?
See, I never go to the shoe store. I literally only own 1 pair of shoes. And No. This is story time.
I like stories about pinatas.
I have 1 pair of shoes, and it's a very cheap brand. So Greeno knows this. I don't appreciate any, like, if you buy me clothes that are expensive, I'll hate you for doing it because I think it's a terrible waste of money. I just buy like no name brand clothes, and I don't particularly care how I dress. Like I can suit up, don't get me wrong, and I can show up shining in a suit. But my average day-to-day wear, I've even when I was a kid, I was like, buy me clothes that don't have any brands on them or anything. I just want plain T-shirts and plain pants. I'm not interested in that brand shit. Yeah. So, when you start getting into this territory, Greeno, it's a little triggering. It's a little triggering.
Well, here's the thing, though. He only ever left shoes. So what would happen is the shoppies would come in, steal the shoes.
Steal a shoe.
And then not realise, they're like, we'll come back and steal another shoe later. And then come back and it'd just be another size, but the same shoe, but another left. So they'd have like a size 9 and a size 14, 2 left shoes.
That's fantastic, though.
But they kept on stealing them. And I'm like, boys, like, let's fucking use your brain here. Like, there's only so many left shoes you can have. We're never putting the right one out there in stock. Like, you need to go into the storeroom if you want to steal the right shoe.
Well, that's the thing I've never noticed. So I have the same brand, the same pair of shoes since like I was 18. They make very cheap shoes, and I wear them for like 10 years, and I wear them to like all social events.
Yeah.
And work. And I wore them to work when I was working in like very, average blue collar jobs, like dirty jobs,
Yeah.
So I had just had 1 pair of shoes. And when they wear out, I say to my, the lovely lady Boogs, hey, can you get me another pair of those shoes? And she's like, yeah, no worries. And she gets another pair of shoes, and then I start wearing them to everything. I think I showed up to your wedding in a pair of those shoes, Greeno, and you were like, man, you can't have those fucking shoes. I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
They're literally the only pair of shoes I own. I'm sorry.
You had to spend someone to go get a pair.
I like stories about pinatas.
And I'm like, And wait, where's your shoes? You're like, these aren't my shoes.
No,
like,
these are my only shoes.
I'm like, these aren't shoes for a wedding, man. Like, these are black. Like,
it was just your bad luck that you happened to get me on like the 8th year of a 10-year shoe cycle.
I'm like,
so I wasn't due for another new pair of shoes for another couple of years. So I've shown up in my 8-year-old shoes that I wear everywhere. My one pair of shoes, and Greta's like, "This is my fucking. You're my best man. This is my fucking wedding." And you couldn't even get a fucking pair of shoes. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't even think of it. I just wake up and I swear to God, true story. I would just wake up in the morning and put my pair of shoes on. That's the only ones I own. And your brother-in-law, like your then soon-to-be brother-in-law, who
no, he was already my brother-in-law.
I was already your brother-in-law. Yeah. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to go and get you a fucking pair of shoes. He's like, I got a pair of shoes.
He happened to be the same size as you.
That's right.
And so we then had to like get someone to drive an hour.
Drive an hour to get a pair of shoes for the best man.
Formal shoes because you're the best man. And you're rocking an 8-year-old sneakers.
Because I literally, and it's not because I'm being discourteous or I'm making a point or anything. I'm literally like, this is the only shoes I have.
Yeah, 100%. I totally forgot about that story.
It's a good story.
I like stories about pinatas.
Let's do some Statmans. Get out of here, sir.
Statman. Which one?
There's
Shohei.
Well, I'm going to do Twins Yank Statman first, then we'll do Shohei. Okay. There's a lot of ownage in a lot of different sports across the globe, but this one staggered me because baseball plays more games than anyone else in any kind of sport.
Okay.
The Twins this week.
I haven't heard the stats about competitive backgammon, Greeno, but I'm assuming you're right.
Well, it should make the assumption. The Twins against the Yankees. I didn't realize how owned the Twins had been. This week, they won their first series against the Yanks since 2001.
Nice, Gary!
So that bad. I think our record's far worse in the Bledders low, Greeno, just to be fair, against New Zealand. So
Yeah, but we're talking about they don't play fucking 400 times a year.
No, only 4 times a year, I think.
The amount of the frequency that the Yanks and Twins play over the course of the last 22 years. Hadn't won a season series against the Yanks.
So a series can be like 3 games or 5 games or whatever games. Yeah, exactly. So they haven't won one of those. They've won games, but not won a series.
They've won a series in 22 years.
That's incredible.
And they mentioned that stat to the Twins' best player, Byron Buxton. He's like, "Oh, are you serious?" He's like, "I was 6. Fuck me."
Nice,
I was 6 years old. He's been in the league for a decade. So
just goes to show you the different priorities of different teams. Obviously the Oakland A's, they've got their priority. They've got their eyes set on that fucking Chinese tourist money in Las Vegas or whatever the fuck they're mining over there. The Yankees have their eyes set on one thing and one thing only. It's World Series championships or column space in newspapers. They also will accept if they don't win a World Series and, blowing smoke up their own best player's ass and dominating the baseball media landscape for that reason. And then you have teams like the Twins who it's like, their Everest was beating this one team in a series. It's like, that's a fucking pennant to them, isn't it? Like, that's huge. Good on them. Fucking good on them. Nice Gary.
Nice Gary. Finally win a season series after 22 years.
Well done.
That brings us to the greatest player ever played this fucking game. I've already decided. Like, we're done.
Well, let's not rush here. Keith Olbermann has said that he's not good. So
no. Keith Olbermann said he wasn't the face of the league because he doesn't speak English. He's a fucking miserable old cunt, and he's fucking very racist.
Yeah. Keith's racist. He's going to be very shocked to hear that. I think. Keith.
Between him and the Make-A-Wish kid, I'm in a lot of trouble at the moment.
You hate dying children and Keith Olbermann. Actually, the Keith Olbermann hatred balances. I'll let you continue to exist on this program because although I'm against your hating kids dying of cancer, position, I'm very much in favor of your hating Keith Olbermann position. So it's okay. It balances out.
I like it. Shohei Ohtani has allowed 3 hits or fewer in each of his last 9 starts. That was up until today. Excluding openers, this is the second longest streak since the mound was moved to the current distance in 1893. We seem to hear the phrase 1800s when we talk about Shohei, or early 1900s.
He's breaking a lot of records, isn't he?
He only trails Jacob deGrom 10 straight in 2021. Now,
I remember that name, Jacob deGrom. He's
because
good,
he's
arguably,
when he's fit, he's the best pitcher on the planet.
Right.
Now, today, Shohei, that streak ended for Shohei, unfortunately, today. So how did Shohei respond to that adversity by finally giving up some runs?
He probably said something very Japanese like, it's okay, I'll continue to work and I will honor my family, and then ended the press conference, I imagine.
He was 30 centimeters away from being the first pitcher ever to hit a cycle. So a cycle in baseball is you get a single, a double, a triple, and a home run all in the same game. Now, no pitcher, obviously, has ever hit a cycle.
Because they're not very good at hitting, basically. Yeah.
So Shohei, in his first 3 at-bats, hit a single, double, and triple, and he hit a ball that was caught right up against the fence.
Wow.
That would have given him the first ever cycle by a pitcher in the same game.
But he didn't get it, so.
You dick! He was 30 centimeters away from being the first pitcher ever to hit a cycle.
Right.
So even when he's losing,
that's 12 inches, by the way, for you infidels out there. 12 inches.
Thereabouts. It wasn't fucking far. There's a bee's dick in it. That's what they refer to it. Yep. Let's talk some Rays stat, man, because I want to give some love to the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays are the version of the Oakland A's that no one talks about. These guys have been doing Moneyball better than Moneyball for
but they've won World Series and stuff, haven't they?
No, they haven't won a World Series yet.
Okay. Well, then then they really are doing Moneyball, because that's
they've reached a World Series, which is better than Moneyball.
Moneyball, actually, after now we've got 30 years in the bank of Moneyball theory in baseball. I think we can safely say that what it does is it gets you competitive to a point, but you'll never actually probably win anything. It gets you punching above you. You'll have honorable defeats in playoffs year after year, perhaps.
Postseason is a crapshoot, and that's what's been proven year after year. And that's what they talk about in that movie a fair bit of all you're trying to do is get into that particular thing, and then it's just who gets hot at the right time. And that's what happened to the Phillies
good on the night. Yeah.
The Phillies had the worst record out of all the playoff teams last year, and they got to the World Series. They lost to the Astros, but they beat teams that won 50 games more than them. Well, not 50, but it was a fair few more. I think the Dodgers
just got their rotations right, got their strategies right, and just made the most of what they had at the time.
Just went on a hot streak for the space of a month, and fucking good on them. Yeah. The Rays have been on a hot streak since the start of the year. They went 14-0 for their home record. It's tied for the 4th longest home win streak to start a season. Now, that doesn't seem like a 4th longest. That seemed fucking a bit weak sauce. Why are you talking about this, Greeno? Well, because I'm going to tell you the years and the names of these fucking teams they just tied. 1880, White Stockings. 1886, Wolverines.
None of these
1884,
teams.
Maroons.
None of them exist.
They don't exist anymore. And they haven't existed since the fucking 1800s. The Rays just equaled.
Can we bring back the Wolverines, please? Or the White Stockings? I want a gender-neutral franchise started up across the road from the White Sox, and we'll call them the White Stockings, Greeno.
Well, are the White Stockings now the White Sox?
That's what I mean. So let's resurrect the original. It's like the Manchester United thing. You've got Manchester United, and then you've got the United of Manchester, which is like a bunch of Manchester United fans who are like, fuck Manchester United because they spend too much money and they have too much money and they're a corporation. So we're going to be the real Manchester United, like the real Jay Peterman reality tour in Seinfeld. So let's bring back the White Stockings and we'll park them across the road from the White Sox and be like, this is the real Chicago team here, the White Stockings. We're going to have trans players. It's going to be fucking amazing, Greeno. We're going to have male cheerleaders. All right. It's going to be fucking wild. All right.
It's going to be insane. You could be onto something.
Yeah.
You know nothing about baseball. I know nothing about media.
Because no one really cares about the Cubs. So we can move. Then we can shuffle. We'll move. I tell you what, we'll move the Cubs to the other side of Las Vegas, the opposite side of what the Oakland A's are moving to.
Las Vegas derby between the A's.
Yeah. And we'll move the White Stockings in. How about that?
Yeah.
And then years later, we'll call them the Charlotte Hornets. Okay.
And put Michael Jordan in charge.
That's right.
Some random
the
reason.
Wizards. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chicago White Stocking Wizards. That's right. Michael Jordan will be the pitching coach.
Damon, want to hear some of the names that were in the Detroit Wolverines that the Tampa Bay Rays tied?
Well, I won't know any of them, but go for it.
Of course not. They had players named Hardy, Deacon, Pretzels, and Phenomenal. And their best pitcher that year was a player called Lady Baldwin, who won 42 games and had 55 complete games.
Lady Baldwin for the White Stockings.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There you go.
Fantastic.
So well done. Well done to fucking Tampa Bay. And then they lost the next day. So that 14 streak became 14-1. And then all that was a mute point. But pretty fucking cracking effort to equal some teams that haven't existed since the 1800s. So well done there.
Well done.
I've got a random fucking search bar that's just popped up. So Dick moved to Google guessing it. Because that just fucking, let's close that one. What is that? That's Edge. Fuck you, Edge.
Do you still use Edge? Why aren't you using Brave?
I don't use Edge. I clicked the link from the Twitter feed.
Yeah. Some people link their shit to Edge only. Whenever I get one of those things, I'm like, oh, I'm not even gonna. I close it before it loads. You know, no, fuck you for giving me an Edge only link. Not interested. Yeah.
All right, that's the show, man.
That's it.
That went longer. We're probably halfway through F1 quali that we've missed. So I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to go back and watch the F1 fucking quali. Oh, well.
Plugs. Check out the Don Camaro merch when I could be asked putting it up there somewhere. I'll let you know the links.
Yep.
Gooden.life still under construction.
Under construction. Yep.
Under construction. And that's pretty much all we got going on. Oh, don't forget to do the Stephen Babb pepperoni challenge.
Yep.
How many 100 you can get. You can fry them. You can eat them fresh. You can put them into a slider version, as we pointed out earlier.
Yeah, I like this 5-slice strategy here to get through the 100. So to complete the challenge, if you missed the start of the show, go back and listen to it. To complete the challenge, 100 slices of pepperoni. That's it.
Yeah, in one sitting.
And you have to send us some kind of photographic evidence of you actually completing the task. Yeah.
Exactly.
We will not accept photos of your poo. Okay, so that won't be because we don't know if it was pepperoni before it went in.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Steve said he's keen to come on the show one day, so we wanted to do that like a crossover Pessy type thing, perhaps.
Okay, we can bring him on, but only if he's eating pepperoni at the time.
No, I think that's got to be the rule.
Yeah.
If Bab comes on, I want pepperoni consumption from minute 1 to minute whatever we finish.
Correct. All right.
That's got to be the rule.
We'll give you 5 minutes to eat 100 slices.
Pepperoni, and that's the rules.
Yeah. And if you can consume that, then we'll let you plug. Okay.
Yeah. Plug. Well, I don't think he's got anything to plug. He likes coming on talking shit.
Well, no. We'll let you plug if you can eat 100 slices. That we've got to offer some kind of incentive, and we don't have any money.
Isn't the incentive the fact he gets to be a guest on the show?
That's not an incentive. We barely want to be on the show these days. That's right. That's a deterrent.
That's it. This is season 54.
We don't even want to be on the show, Green.
That's it. All right, let's go there. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
We'll always be bosom buddies, friends, sisters, and pals. We'll always be bosom buddies. If life should reject you, there's me to protect you.
If I say that your tongue is vicious,
if I call you uncouth,
it's simply that.
Who else but a bosom buddy will sit down and tell